We are in a huge ecosystem, and as a country, we need this digital initiative in the future. So let's say if you have the ID, unfortunately, we don't have like the Aadhaar card ID, digital ID. If you have a digital ID and a digital signature, you don't have to carry or go anywhere. Even there are farmers' loans. They just take the loan, lease everything by not going to any city or a bank. So to that level, we can facilitate and financial inclusion could be improved. There will be a lot of transparency if you go on this path. So that is the future. Sri Lanka is a small economy and we can implement. If India can implement, why can't we?
Hello, you're with Echelon. Now, have you come across digital signatures? Here I'm not talking about scanning your signature and attaching it to a document, no, not that, but a digital signature that's authenticated independently. Apparently it's a thing, and their application can be done quite widely. To discuss that today, in the studio with us are Channa Silva, who is Chief Executive of LankaPay, a unit of which is LankaSign, and we'll get to that. Sanath Manatunge, who is Chief Executive of Commercial Bank, which is Sri Lanka's largest private sector bank, and Chamara Rupasinghe, who is the Chief Executive of Authnex, a technology company. Gentlemen, welcome. I'll start with you, Channa, right? We have an Electronics Transactions Act, I think introduced about 15 years ago or more. There were certain amendments to the act that introduced what now we are calling a digital signature. What is this? Now, we all know that we can scan our signature, paste it on a document, PDF the document, and there it is, digital, right? What is this digital signature?
Yeah, so it's a very simple concept. As you said, you can put your wet signature, we call it the physical signature,
okay,
and take an image, which is and scan it and take an image,
right,
and it becomes an electronic signature. But unfortunately, the problem with that is you can forge somebody's signature and put it on that document
fairly easily. Yeah.
Or once you put the signature, you can alter the document also. So that happens in physical documents anyway, but even in electronic form, you have tools like Photoshop where you can edit images, right? So what happens is then you cannot really trust the document with a electronic signature. So what digital signatures do is it actually there's a technology which binds a person to that signature once you put it, right? And the technology ensures that the person cannot run away after putting that signature, which means he cannot say it's somebody else, because that signature itself through technology binds that signee to the signature itself.
Okay, so I'd really like to discuss this concept of how you bind a signature to a document. Would you mind just taking a minute more to tell us, okay, how does that happen?
Yeah, so basically, just like normally when you're putting your signature, you can take an image of your signature and put it into the document. But what happens is when you put that into the document, you use a technology where the technology takes that image and ensures that the person who actually puts it has an identity also attached to the signature. That's done through technology. So once you attach the person's identity into the signature, and when you send that document to somebody electronically, that person can just click on that signature and find out who has actually put that signature. And also there are certain other features like expiry of a signature and all that.
So this document you're referring to is like we are familiar with office documents,
yes,
and now everything's online, right, yes, on the cloud.
Absolutely.
So this signature can reside in any of these.
Yeah,
documents.
if you take a basic PDF file, you can just put that digital signature onto that file and just send it. And it's a very simple 2-3 step process to put that signature. And you don't need to be a tech savvy person to do that. Normal person can actually put a digital signature onto a document.
So Channa, this somebody may sit and wonder, how secure is this? Ultimately, you can take a document and you can lock it up in a safe and it's secure. How secure are digital signatures?
Yeah, so the way it's derived through technology, that's how the security is ensured, right? So the technology uses something called encryption.
Right.
which is not reversible. That's the beauty of that is, right? So that's how you put a digital signature when you put something and nobody can sort of reverse it because it uses a technology called encryption, right? I don't want to like go into technical details. And also, how do you ensure the security of that signature? Now, for example, these signatures are derived through what's called a high security module. That's a worldwide accepted and highly secure military grade equipment, right? And those digital signatures are created from those, and there is no human intervention. That gets directly written into either a physical token or a dongle, or into a device, into a secure module. So nobody can actually tamper with those signatures because there's no physical involvement or manual involvement, right?
Let me turn to you, Sanath. So, you're a banker. I am sure you have to deal with a lot of legal documents that require authentication. Lots of signatures. What's the potential of this technology, digital signatures in banking?
So, thank you for inviting me, Shamendra. Now, if you take your memory back 25 years, the banks actually developed their products and services around the bank. Customer had to come and consume. Today, we are talking of customer journeys. That is, the banks are building the services around the customer. Where the customer is, whether it's a mobile, digital platform, the banks are building the technology around the customer requirement. That's customer journey. So if you see, banks are traditionally heavy on documents. From the day account is open, it's a contract, right? Principal agent contract, you have to have the signature cards. Then even if you enroll in a digital platform, we take physical documents, right? Then there's no connect between what we do and what we follow. So you are asking the customer to sign a document to get into digital platform. So then customer journey is disturbed because the customer wants a digital journey. So then the digital signature will connect that part. Where, as discussed earlier, the customer should be able to, at their convenience, from their phone or the laptop or the maybe iPad, they should be able to sign and send that document to the bank seamlessly. Then the bank should be able to internal process wise to authenticate it. Otherwise, it's a customer submitting into the counter, then going to officer to see whether it is valid. Now, if it is a digital signature, the system will validate it's Mr. X is signing this. So then internally also, we can have that seamless digital experience. So that is the real digital customer journey you are talking of. So for this, one part missing is this digital signature, and I think we should popularize this.
So you're talking about a seamless customer journey, right? Is this technology capable, you think, of eliminating the need for customers who obviously they have to be registered to be able to provide this for the digital signature in the first place, but provided that condition is met, can you eliminate people having to sign documents?
Definitely, because a customer will not like signing a paper, going to the bank and submitting and wasting his time. Same way, internally the bank officers will not like to take a paper, then authenticate the signature, filing it, scanning it. So many things are there. And also you are talking of X and Z gen kind of future where the people are trying to have their lives more convenient through digital platforms. In that, the best way is to amalgamate or integrate all the ecosystem partners like digital signature providers, the regulators, to the bankers. Then the ecosystem should mature enough to accommodate the customer journey. Customers need it. Whether the ecosystem is ready to absorb that is the question.
Right. Simple, very mundane but important question, right? If ever you've signed up for a bank loan or a credit card or anything, if you've signed one of those big legal documents, you have to initial each page, right? Yeah. All that can be replaced with a digital signature?
Yes, definitely. So then ecosystem matters. Let's say now LankaPay is ready, bank is ready, we have digital signatures. Then the question is whether land registry is ready, they are part of the ecosystem, whether lawyers are ready, whether our judiciary is ready to accept this, but partly handled through this the Electronic Transaction Act. So that maturity should come into the entire system, and wherever you see gaps, the dots not connected, there should be regulators, banks, or any other central bank. These the interested parties should try to connect the dots. Then the ecosystem richness will push a better customer journey.
So I'll just answer your question of these initials, right? Why do you put initials after you sign? Because people can change the pages, change the documents, right?
Of course.
So that's the reason why you have to initial every page. Once you put a digital signature, you can do a function called lock the document. Once you lock the document, you can't do anything to the document, edit or anything. You just lock it. So nobody can make a change. So when you do that, you put the digital signature. You don't need initials.
Just to be clear, right? These documents have to exist digitally after that.
Absolutely.
They cannot be printed out.
No, if you print them, you don't get the same features of
Right.
digital signature.
So that,
That authenticity is not there. Even somebody tries to edit it, it can be edited, but then the authenticity goes away. When you check, the recipient checks, it's not authentic.
Chamara, let me bring you in. I mean, we were talking about the ecosystem, right? Now, you have to explain to us how a company like yours joins this ecosystem.
So we actually comes as a technology provider. So we are a startup. So from 2016 on, we have been doing a lot of technology platform. So we developed a platform where we connect with the CSP. So the Channa represents LankaPay, the CSP, how to take that certificate out into the client. So Sanath discussed about this requirement. So the objective is basically bridge the gap. So we have created this platform which bridges the gap where the certificate from LankaPay will come into any system that a bank or any establishment wants.
Okay, so let's try to sort of define the players here, right? There is a governance and legal framework, right, which is beyond any of you around this table, right? That is above you. You're not involved in that. Then we have players like LankaPay, for instance, Channa, or LankaSign, which is a unit of LankaPay. That, you know, if I wanted to create a digital signature to myself, I have to come to you.
Yes. So it's a very simple process. I would explain it in a very simple process. Normally, if you want to certify a document, say government document, you go to a justice of peace, right? And that's an appointed person by the government to authenticate a document. Say this person is this document is correct, right? So role of a certification service provider is that what it does is when you actually put your signature, the certification authority guarantees that this signature belongs to that particular person. So that's the actual role done through technology of a role of a certification service provider. So the certification service provider, before issuing a signature, has to validate all the authenticity of individuals, like maybe individual NIC. There is a process, international process that the certification provider has to go through before actually they assign a digital signature to a person.
Like, let me bring you in there, Chamara, right? So if Channa is the head of a certification authority, how does your company, Authnex, in fact, fit into the ecosystem? If you can take it from there and tell us.
So now the requirement is once the certificate is issued, you have to keep it in a secure location.
Right.
That is the most important, because when you are signing, only the signatory should have the access to certificate. So we make sure once the certificate is issued from the CSP, we keep it in a secure location. Only for the signing function, the certificate is used. If the certificate has been taken out, we inform the CSP and the certificate can be revoked. So it's the trust that we are creating. So when you have the trust, any person who wants to get into the digital signing will adopt it faster.
No, somebody may be a little confused as to, okay, I get the certificate
yes.
from LankaSign. I give it to you for safekeeping.
Yes.
Right? How do I access it? Do I have to log into a website, take it out? Is there an app I can use? How does it work?
Well, it's a little bit complex thing because the certificate, for example, earlier there's something called secure elements like HSM, we call it HSM or hardware security modules, and it comes in various forms. It can be a token, like a USB type of token, or a smart card. So you store your certificate inside that securely. So we call it a secure element or a secure environment. When you want to sign, the document also goes into secure element and get it signed.
Oh, right.
So that is how the earlier version happens. But now what we do, we completely get away with that, and we'll find another more convenient way of doing the same process. So what we do, we bring the mobile device. So, the mobile device also has a secure environment because your passwords, your biometrics get stored inside that. So we use that environment because everyone basically carries their mobile everywhere you go. So you can on the go sign any document, and we provide that facility. If you want to look at the document, you look at the document from your mobile or your iPad and you sign it on the go.
So if I just explain a bit, right? The security of the signature depends on how you store it. It should not be taken away by anybody else.
Right.
It's only you.
Right.
Previously, what happened was there are hardware devices like dongles, where highly secure, worldwide, highly secure, following international standards, the signature used to get stored there. So that to take it out, the user needs to put a password, which only the user has. So that was the security. Now what happens is these tokens cannot be plugged into mobile devices, iPads. So because of that, we had to find a mechanism where the same security had to be established in the device itself. So that when the certificate is issued, that gets stored in the device with same security as a token. So that's where I think.
So when you have a document, you need to put your signature on or authenticate. You will take that document into the mobile and transfer it to this secure environment where your digital signature resides.
Yes, but it will not be that inconvenient for the user. User will just simply open the laptop, just upload the document, and you will get a notification to your mobile saying that there's a document pending for you. Right. Just put a PIN or biometric, sign. Simple as that. So that's what.
So underneath, technology takes care of this.
Exactly.
So for the end user, it's very extremely seamless.
Right. Sanath, is there a sense about the level of not just security, right, but a sense of the efficiency this can bring in organizations? I'm asking you this because Commercial Bank was the first bank to sort of implement digital signatures across the board, right? What have you seen in terms of efficiency?
Yeah, efficiency in the sense, now if you see a bank, Commercial Bank has a digital roadmap. Right. So digital roadmap is, again, you convert the customer journey into a process within the bank and plug in the pieces together. So you serve the customer digitally.
Sure.
So this piece was missing till they introduced the LankaPay introduced this the digital signature concept. So that's why we embrace it, because we are waiting for this.
Sure.
So then, as Chamara said, one of the obstacles we are facing at the moment is this dongle. So we are penetrating into the market in a way, but I was telling Chamara also, if it is again like the paper signature and digital, these dongle and digital, there's some disconnect, right? So if the platform can do everything, like what Chamara was saying, that's real digital journey. We have experienced this when we deal with countries like Singapore, Hong Kong, they are into that. So then your mobile PIN number, like your ATM card, you get the PIN, you seamlessly authorize the signature, so it's a digital signature. So coming back to your question, the improvement in efficiency, I will take a simple example. We decided to open up this in different phases, internally and externally.
Right.
So then we look at which customer segment would benefit more in these digital signatures. Obviously, it was corporates. Now, if you want a corporate to be in your digital platform, there's a set of forms to be signed physically. You have to send it physically to a bank, a branch where they bank. Then the branch will have to go through the signature, certify this officer, physically check the signature, and also the authority levels, right? Who can approve 100,000, who can approve beyond that, their combination, everything. So then you have to feed that into the computer system in the bank, which will talk to the digital the digital platforms and authorize. Right? Then you have to file it, keep it in a file. If the file is lost, you have to get another set of documents. There are board resolutions, so many things. Now, if a customer is digitally enabled, if they have the LankaSign, we are in the LankaSign, so they can download the documents, fill them, make them PDF, and authorize. Let's say there are 10 signatories at different levels, authorize X, Y, Z, send it to the bank electronically. The bank platforms will identify the signatures are verify as genuine. Then authority levels can be defined within 5 to 10 minutes. The back office system will place these signatories in the correct position, open up the enrollment, and give the digital access. This is a 5 minutes job versus about 2-3 days process you are talking about. Then no paperwork, no paper. So environmentally friendly. There's no office space being utilized, no counter traffic. Then everything is digitally, stored. As Channa mentioned, when the digital signature is there, losing a document like this very remote. So these have been saved in different levels. The production servers to the backup server, somewhere it will be there. But if you go back to that physical paper, you can lose that anywhere. And also, the physical paper, if there's some, a slightest, mistake from the officer in identifying a signature,
Authority
or placing
level or
authority,
something.
can go wrong. But here, it's 100% accurate.
So
that's
your
level of reality.
computers are synced, or your systems are synced to that signature. They can not only identify the person, but then immediately sync that with, okay, this is the person's authority level, and he or she is now exceeding that authority level, and then can deny
That's
that.
the thing. And also, now even it can be a third party. Let's say Channa is not a customer, but Channa is a LankaSign, enrolled signatory. Bank is there. So whenever he sends the document, we know this is the person who has signed. Not only customers, but non-customers can deal with the bank.
Right. And you access that information, Sanath, by immediately checking with the systems that
System to system. Seamless.
LankaSign is running.
Yeah. So basically what actually happens is when you click on the signature, it automatically connects to the technologically connects to the certification authority backend and verifies whether this signature has expired, who has authorized this. All those things are verified and shown to the receiver.
Shown and saved. Saved with the time.
Saved with the time. So the receiver can actually validate this is a valid signature and who does it belong to, and whether the signature even expired.
When you say receiver, you're referring to LankaSign?
No. So for example, if I am sending you a document, digital signature, you can check whether I'm the actual, by clicking on the signature.
Okay, right.
When you click on the signature, it automatically connects to the backend of the certification authority and validates whether the signature is valid, all that.
Right.
So if and also it also shows if the document has been changed after you put the signature, it says the document has been modified after. So if you have not blocked the document, let's say somebody has altered the document, it says this document has been altered after putting the signature.
Sure. Right. You are talking about a version here, Sanath, that sounds a little out of the future, right? Are you suggesting that everything you're saying is on the ground and working currently?
We are working on that, but the thing is uptake is limited because one thing is the people have not got the benefits into their head.
Right.
They have not understood the real benefit.
Sure.
And also still the understanding gap is there. Let's say certain customers, whenever we open up, let's say LC applications electronically, still they want to see this application, put their signature. That mindset should change. And the trust should come. We are trusting the platforms. The banks were on platform for a long time. We know the security hardening to the different level of security levels we can go up to, and also we are investing in technology. So these that again the ecosystem partners should be educated and also explain what benefits they can get out of these initiatives, and slowly take on to these platforms. Now during COVID, a lot of people embrace because there are no option. So let's say there was a proposal in the budget to make certain government payments electronic. So if this is required by the regulator or pushed by the government or some authority, people will adapt because there's no option.
I suppose that would be helpful in this instance.
Then people will they are encouraged, and also they will be comfortable in going through these new technological development.
Yeah, so I mean, stemming from that discussion, say the payments can be made electronic, but then if the document flow that leads to the payment, like the purchase order, the invoice, all those are manual, then there's no automation, right? So that is where digital signature comes in. Because if you do not automate the document flow, but just by automating and making electronic payment, customer's journey is not the same.
Sure.
These bits and pieces.
Yeah,
here
it's,
and
it's
there.
bits and pieces. It's not a seamless thing. Chamara, let me bring you in. So, Channa and Sanath are talking about it being seamless, right? Where do you think the gaps are? And is your company or companies like yours joining the ecosystem part of that solution to make it seamless? Can you give us some background here?
Sure. Okay. So we actually engaged in two ways. The first one is we have created the platform so that the certificate from the CSP can seamlessly flow into the backend application. Let's take a bank as an example to the bank. Second one, now with the involvement of API, what you call the platform, what we do is there are certain development to be done from the back end. So what the bank does, okay, we have this specific workflow application, let's say a loan origination system, there are a set of documents which are coming in. So you need to have physical signature at one point. So what we do, we integrate the digital signature into that loan origination process or an enrollment process. So at the end of the day, once we integrated, all the physical documents can be taken away and the electronically signed documents will come in. So that is the first part that basically facilitate. Secondly, what we do, there can be, let's say, small and medium enterprises, which does not have the facility to do their own development. So what we do, we have created our own platform. They can enroll into the platform and use the platform for signing. So that will be a separate platform, but you can simply upload a document, sign it, download it, and send it to the next party.
Sometimes, somebody may get the impression that, okay, if you're an SME, this is something overwhelming for you. Mm-hmm. Is that the case? Is it?
Absolutely not, because now we as a SMB, so a small entity, we deal a lot with the banks. So we do a lot of digitally signed documents. So it's a convenient, of course, the amount of paper that we are saving, amount of transportation cost that we are saving. So it's a big saving for us, as well as the time. Because if we are to, for let's say a small company, if we are to send all the documents to the bank, we have to allocate someone. So that we are saving. So it's a bit kind of a advantage for everyone.
I suppose from a company point of view, most companies are used to having folders and folders of documents, right? Absolutely. So they have to also be fairly organized in terms of digitizing everything. And I suppose a cloud solution or something is the safest.
Yes, so you can go with that for a small and a medium. Yes, cloud would be a much more kind of appropriate way, because you don't need to invest a lot on your backend systems and all that. So cloud can be a faster way of adopting these things. When it comes to the question of storing, so the systems will manage, they will store it, and even you can download it and keep your own repository. Maybe you can, like for example, we all use like Google or even what you call this, iCloud and all that. So you can use those storage as well to keep your signed documents.
Just to be clear, if somebody authenticates a document, signs a document digitally, if they want a copy, they have to keep it in their own systems, or does it reside at?
No. So what actually happens is, once you issue a digital signature, the documents is with the customer. Right. Yeah. So document doesn't go anywhere. So the other part I want to explain, is basically, now when you have, like especially banks, you have multiple signatories that need to sign the same document. So that is actually taken care by what Chamara explained called workflow. It's called a document management system. So it defines, okay, I sign it, then who should the document go to next? So automatically the document is routed to the next person. So the next person puts the signature. So let's say if you are 10 people, the workflow will take care. I don't need to say send it to this guy after signing. Once I sign, automatically the system will send it to the next level.
So there is a workflow system that
Absolutely.
will automate it. Absolutely. And it will probably use email or something like that to do that.
And that workflow system can use digital signatures, because every step they can put the digital signature each person.
And then hit OK, and then
it will go to the other
automatically appear in the other person's inbox, or some notification will appear that, hey, there's a document you should get. Right. Absolutely. Within commercial bank, leave alone your customers, within commercial bank, there must be many such documents that go at various levels, Sanath. Just to understand, does your existing core banking systems, etc., take care of that sort of security, or are signatures something like this deployable?
Yeah, this is an alternative method of doing. Now, let's say our LOS is working on AD. That's AD environment, right? Then emails are on AD environment. So these are password protected. Once you log in and do something, it's recorded and authenticated.
Sure.
So document management systems to LOS, loan origination system, then memo approval systems, all are on this. But we can go ahead of maybe exceed the security features by adopting something like digital signature. So one thing we were discussing with Chamara also, if the dongle requirement is not there, then we can directly connect seamlessly on a digital platform, no dongle, just a PIN authentication. That could be more advanced than going through AD environment. Active Directory. AD is Active Directory. Active Directory also good, but when you go up in the authority ladder or seriousness of the document, it could be the digital signature more than the AD environment we may have to look at. Let's say our legal officer is signing a legal document, a contract with the vendor. Those should be at a higher level. AD can't handle that. So that's internally.
Right. Just to also understand about take-up, you said it was a little slow because people were unaware of it, right? And another issue or another challenge is the requirement of a physical dongle, right? It's inconvenient. Is the dongle now, you can do this without the dongle?
Yes, they have the technology, yes.
Yeah. If you can sort of give us a sense about what do you think the impact of that will be now that there is a people can work without a dongle, without a physical.
Even with the dongle, we were penetrating into the market in different manner because corporate understood the value.
Sure.
So, but corporate is one segment, right? If you see the entire customer journey, there are a lot of customers in different level. Even that corporate customer personally could be another customer in different capacity. So then, if you are to popularize, okay, initial stages the uptake will be very slow. Even if you go back, Facebook wouldn't have been used by 1%. Then suddenly there's the hype comes and people use. I also think if all the banks get together, all the organizations get together, maybe chambers promote these among SMEs and business people, the uptake will be more rapid than natural, slow growth. That's what we need to have. Otherwise, the technology changes, the ways things happening will change. Then the other thing is there could be a time in future. International parties will say we want only digital signature, blockchain, or you have to be in cloud. The vendors will not support anything on premise. So if you are pushing the economy and the country towards that, so there should be a more push towards things like this. Because if you see any organization in the country, from government institution to the banks to private entities today, they file millions of documents after signing, which are not foolproof, which are not authenticated. There are a lot of frauds happening, and you are talking of digitalization, automation. On the other side, you always have a paper behind that. So we have to get out of that mindset. To get out of that, you need education. Educate people and also make them comfortable or very confident of using a system like this. So that's the way forward, and everybody should push towards that.
Your bank is a trade-oriented bank more than most others of similar size, right? So you have possibly a rich history of dealing, and even today you're dealing with a lot of global banks and trading partners, right? Is the digital signature that we originate here currently or in the future, will it be portable globally? Are your global customers and partners going to accept it also?
Yes, definitely. They are going to accept. And now, if you see the trade finance, it has developed in a different way. The SWIFT systems are very secure. We have the SWIFT IDs to trade platforms, bank-to-bank connections. Those have gone, I think, beyond the signature also.
Sure.
Right? The authentication. So these more on P2P, maybe G2P kind of transaction where individually handled.
Right.
Because trade had been in technology for a long time. It was mature.
Sure.
So they will not ask if I sign or send a message through SWIFT. It's authenticated in a different manner. I'm not sure, Channa may add to that, whether they need digital signatures.
Yeah, so I think if I expand what Sanath was saying, now within an organization, generally you have a system to authenticate an employee. like Active Directory kind of thing. And also that employee is bound by a employment contract. So there is a trust within that organization. So maybe just using email, you trust somebody sending email within that organization. But this, so even within that, if you deploy digital signatures, you improve efficiency, which is what it brings. But the real value comes when you are dealing with outsiders. Because outsiders are not trusted entities for an organization, right? So when you deal with individuals or another third party, maybe vendors, suppliers, if you want them to sign, you can't use the same system which you use internally. So that's where the trust has to come in, that whatever the signature that they put in, the receiver has to trust it. Mm-hmm. So that's where there has to be a trusted middleman, which I equated to a GP, where the middle party, that is a trusted entity, guarantees that this signature is valid and it belongs to ABC.
If this technology is fairly advanced, I'm just wondering, somebody might be sitting out there wondering, okay, must be fairly expensive. Can you give us a sense about what that is?
Yeah, actually, what we want to do was to make it cheaper than paper, for example.
Okay,
right?
Which is quite expensive these days.
It is quite expensive, but it used to be cheap, right? So it's a very if you are an individual, all you need is, if you are in a private sector, it will only cost you 2,000 rupees for a year. So if you divide it by 12 and divide it by 30, per day cost is nothing, right? So but a single piece of paper probably would cost more than that, right? And if you are a government entity, actually we are offering for 500 rupees for a year.
Okay, per person.
And the beauty of that is signing of documents is unlimited using that signature.
Okay.
Right? So it's also, for example, let's say you get a digital signature to communicate with your bank, for example. That's the purpose. But if you want to use the same signature for customs documents, any other government department, any other bank, you don't need to get a separate one. Just that one signature you get, you can sign any document to anyone, provided the receiver accepts a digital signature, which is where I think the bottleneck has been. But now once that acceptance is there, so all you need to get is one digital signature.
I'm just wondering, Channa, you are currently the only certification service provider. It need not be a monopoly, but you seem to have, your organization has taken an initiative on this, right? I suppose you're the first. Can you give us a sense about what the uptake is, if some measurable?
Yeah, so I think we have really seen, so the uptake in terms of document signing, as I think Sanath said, has been evolving and has been slow, right? But COVID has sort of improved that. But what we actually did was something interesting. We used the same concept for mobile apps, right? Now, for example, we launched something called Just Pay, which I think Commercial Bank and others have deployed, where a customer can attach his bank account to another bank app to make a payment.
Sure.
Now there the issue is the customer signs a mandate with his bank when you open an account. But when you attach it to another bank's app, you don't have a mandate with that bank authorizing that bank to take action based on your instruction. So what we implemented was, we use a digital signature of the customer to sign a digital mandate with the bank of the app, and then give them authorization to carry out instructions based on your request.
Right.
So which is huge uptake.
So you are using this very same technology to do this?
Absolutely. It's a very same technology, and hundreds of thousands of users are already using it.
So even without knowing, this technology has been deployed across?
Not only that. Now, when actually this has been deployed earlier, for example, the salary payments. Majority of the salary payments happen through a system called slips, which the banks have deployed, right? So bulk payments like salaries, EPF, ETF, bulk payments, right? Now, what actually happens, how this actually came about was, because this is actually transferred through a file, electronic file, like an Excel file. So what happens is, say there are 100 employees in an organization, each line item has the salary, and that is instructed to, because what actually happens is, the employee's account may be in one bank, the company's account may be in another bank. So when you want to send the salary, there has to be instruction that goes to the company's bank saying A, B, C, D, send these amounts to different banks. So that actually goes in electronic file. Now what happens is, when this file gets transferred, somebody can actually alter those lines, right? Because it's just technology file. Now what we used initially was to digitally sign this document. before sending. So once you digitally sign this before sending, when it gets to the receiver, if somebody has altered the document, the receiver would know. So that's what the first use of a digital signature in the banking sector was.
Right,
Still
and
is.
that was still happened under
That
the
still
electronic
happened.
transactions.
Absolutely.
Right, so under the same governance framework.
Absolutely, under the same
that was the first iteration of it, and now it's ballooned into something much bigger.
Absolutely.
Potential must be quite awesome if you can get this widely deployed, Sanath. I mean, you're talking about millions of people who can, it's 2,000 rupees is nothing much. I mean, bundle of A4 paper is way more.
And also the transport, to
and the
filing, photocopy, storing. Now even storing in Colombo is quite expensive. We are just storing documents where you can't find. But here, digitally signed signatures can be accessed anywhere.
Is there a bias now in your bank, for instance, to not have physical documents? Yeah, maybe we are a little outdated, but physical documents are no longer a thing in banks.
We have, in certain ways, yes, internally. Now memos are not being printed or circulated.
Sure.
Through memo approval systems. Loan, those days we call it credit facility papers. Those are not there. It's purely on loan origination system. And also from there we generate the letter of offer, which is printed. Now you can have a digital letter of offer signed by the customer. So that part we have to, popularize this with the customer.
Sure.
So those are the dots we have to actually. So then this signed document we file physically. It's just a waste of paper, and sometimes these documents are printed in triplicate, right? Everywhere you have to file this in physical form, and so those are the things, not impossible, but that buy-in should be there.
It's a blue ocean out there, Chamara, for what you're embarking on, right? And what LankaSign has set up and what you are embarking on, because not only are you offering potentially customers and you're not offering necessarily the digital signature, but you're offering a support ecosystem, right? How do you sort of generate interest and sort of push wider adoption? Because without the security of an ecosystem, customers may be a little wary otherwise.
I think it's primarily due to awareness. So that's what we are doing. So we are creating the awareness, saying that, okay, it's cost effectiveness. And from one side, we are discussing about the legal framework, how the products or what we are offering is how standardized it is within the Sri Lanka, as well as when you go outside. Now, if you take the world, now the European Union, so Europe, you have the EIDAS. That is a standard defined by the European Union for cross-border document signing. So that type of legal framework standardization, when we adopt it, I think through the awareness, we can easily convert. Especially like there are a lot of government services that require papers. For example, let's say the Grama Sevaka certificate. So you have to, how many days you have to go there and get it, whereas all the information is in both places. So if you can request it and the Grama Sevaka can sign it digitally and send it electronic email or something, we are saving a lot of time of everyone. So it's all about creating awareness at different places, from the governments, the banking sector, the insurance sector, and even the education. A lot of places we create the awareness and we can actually kind of make everyone adopt it. So
okay,
that's good.
Gentlemen, this has been a wonderfully enlightening conversation. You sort of managed to simplify what appears to be a difficult to grasp subject and its implications on commerce, on people in general, right? I'll ask each of you to sort of quickly sort of sum up any closing thoughts. Can I start with you, Sanath?
Yeah. So to sum up this, we are in a huge ecosystem, and as a country, we need this digital initiative in the future. So let's say if you have the ID, unfortunately we don't have like the Aadhaar card ID, digital ID. If you have a digital ID and a digital signature, you don't have to carry or go anywhere. Right. Now in India, I know even there are farmers' loans. They just take the loan, lease everything by not going to any city or a bank. So to that level, we can facilitate, and financial inclusion could be improved by using this. So then the people, down to the grassroots level, now they are the mobile penetration is there. So from providing the Samurdhi to allowing these poor people to get maybe microfinance loans without going to loan sharks, then everything can be seamlessly digitalized, and there will be a lot of transparency if you go on this path. So that is the future. Sri Lanka is a small economy, and we can implement. If India can implement, why can't we? So those are the missing parts where we can get a huge benefit to the people of the country if we initiate an as maybe a mechanism, the ecosystem, take this seriously and push it towards this digitalization. It will benefit everybody, not the banks, the companies, or entities in Colombo or in other cities. You can do it seamlessly, and it's an opportunity for a country like us because we have not grown that much. So that next phase of the growth should happen with these new technologies.
Brilliant. Can I come to you, Channa?
Sure. So I'll also address it in the point of, again, the adaptation. Now, when we go into adopting a new technology, either the business requirement is not there, either the cost is quite high. But now what we offer in this scenario, you see, it's quite convenient. And almost everyone, from an individual to a business, now we see whether I want to spend on paper, whether I want to spend on transportation, or can I just adopt the digital signatures and make it more convenient and cost effective. And that is what we need to do. So the business requirement is there, and that is offered at a very low cost. So just adopt it. So that's what I think we need to do now.
Channa, last words.
Yeah, so I think for this to be successful, when we have more and more adoption, because for example, in a customer journey, I think as Sanath was initially saying, doesn't include only one organization. For example, if you are a trader, say small-time trader, if you want to say import or export something, there are a set of documents that need to be sent and signed to different departments. It's not so customs, Inland Revenue, BOI, import-export control, all these and banks, right? So no point just having only at customs or only at a bank, because then rest of the part, you can get it done 10 minutes, but then you need 1 week for one department, another, because all are manual. So this journey, for example, there was a circular issued by the Presidential Secretariat last year. By end of last year, all the government departments have to accept electronic documents. That there was a circular, but I don't think it has happened even now, right? So unless we get all these people, different segments to adopt, the customer journey is not going to be that seamless. That is where the disconnect. It's not simple, it's complex, I understand. But unless we do that, the convenience factor is not going to come. So we need to collectively get together all the ecosystem players to do this, because that's when the actual benefit that will come for the country and the economy.
Channa, Sanath, Chamara, thank you. This has been a conversation where we managed to demystify a lot of stuff for people. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.